What was your experience like at K-State as a Division I athlete? What was your day-to-day like?
When I got there, I tore my knee up and it changed the trajectory of where I wanted to be as an athlete. I felt like it was a different wake-up call, that I had to work in a different way. Not work harder, but work smarter. And so I had to always learn how to fuel my body, how to recover, how to do my physical therapy, like know that I had to do more than just the bare minimum. And being an athlete is a full-time job.
Yeah, a student athlete especially.
Student athlete, which the student part wasn't my favorite. There's no good or bad foods. And I stand by that because every food has a purpose.
You've had a pretty crazy transformation yourself.
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look back at pictures, you look like a different human than you did then.
We should pop up the picture.
Welcome to the Higher Form podcast, where high performance meets real life. We talk about how to grow with intention, lead with clarity, and feel strong in every season.
Welcome back to the Higher Form podcast. Today, I have a special guest with me. She's a Kansas City native, a former K-State volleyball player, and of course, the nutrition program coordinator at Avexia Health and Performance. Everybody, welcome Jacque Smith.
Hi, guys.
We've got Jacque here to talk about all kinds of things.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things.
Let's just start with how you ended up in that chair.
Oh, man.
You walked in, you sat down. No, but really,
Right.
really, how we met in 2022.
Yeah, beginning, I think.
Because you graduated from K-State in
December of 21.
Great. And then you were
Yep.
working another fitness job, and you had reached out through another connection.
Yep.
We sat down in the dungeon of the first gym that we had started Avexia in.
Yep.
I remember trying to convince you to come on board, but I didn't have a job for you at that point in time. And then after many touch points between then, you were one of the first 3 people to help us start this whole thing here.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey. Yeah, it's been really fun to see all of it evolve and to see myself evolve in it. From the dungeon to the other location to the new location we're in now, it's just...
Yeah, Brian had
evolving.
mentioned that we have been in a different gym every January for the last 3 years.
3 years.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk just about the gym.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about you. And one of the things I mentioned in the introductions, you're a Kansas City native.
Yes, I am.
Where'd you go to school?
So I went to St. Peter's grade school, so K
Going
through
way
8.
back.
Way back. I'm going to start way back. Well, St. Elizabeth's preschool. Shout
Okay.
out to them, helping me learn how to read ABCs.
There you go.
Went to all-girls Catholic high school, St.
But that was an
Teresa's
experience.
Academy. Yes, it was. It was something I did not want to do.
Okay.
I was all in on going to Miege. I wanted co-ed. My parents were like, just try, just go look at St. Teresa. I was like, my older sister goes there. I want to do my own thing. And then I fell in love with it.
Okay.
I loved it. Every
Okay.
minute of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And then you made the transition to K-State to play volleyball.
I did.
What was that like, going from an all-girls school to a Division I, 20,000 plus student environment? That had to have been a big shift for you.
Yeah, it was a big shift. A lot of it too came from that I started on varsity as a freshman. So it was a big
So
thing.
you were a baller at an early age.
I was, yeah.
You played libero, correct?
I was libero.
From the get-go.
So when I was growing up, I was an outside. And my dream was to stay an outside. Even before I played volleyball, like I'd watch my mom coach volleyball and I'd be playing soccer and running track and stuff. But I
So
was
you
like,
played multiple sports then?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. All the way up until high school. When I got to high school, it was more like, I'm all in on volleyball.
Yep.
I'm all in. So then when I got there, I, was 5'6", 5'7",
And
didn't jump the highest.
didn't keep growing.
Didn't keep growing. I stopped growing. But I became libero. I remember my 12s coach in club in Mavs KC was where I played club for 10 years of my life. I
Okay.
stayed there all 10 years from 8 to 18.
That's
when I
awesome. I
played.
feel like that's pretty rare too.
It
Did
is.
you see a lot of girls come and go, or did you have a lot of friends that were OGs with you from the beginning?
There were some OGs, but I
Okay.
felt like more of the friends that I have now are from when we were older. So like 15, 16s, we stayed together until we went to college. Earlier on, people bounced to other local clubs like KC Power, Dynasty, Invasion. But
Okay.
I was OG Mavs to the get-go. So I was an outside hitter. And then my coach in my 13s, 12s year was like, you're going to be a great libero. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but put me there.
Yeah.
And let's
Put
see.
me in, coach. I'll do
Put me in,
whatever.
coach. Yeah.
I'm cool with that. I
So-
feel like I get the utility player vibe from you a little bit.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm open to it,
Yeah.
to trying new things.
Well, I think that's part of becoming the highest form of yourself is not being closed-minded to things. And you
Yeah.
definitely have, you mentioned this earlier, have grown a lot, even just in the time I've known you. But it
Yeah.
sounds like that's something that you've kind of had to adapt even in some of these earlier years.
Yeah, for sure. I think, again, like going into college and going to K-State, I was the all-time Diggs leader at St. Teresa's. I still hold that, and then you go to K-State, it's D1, and you're like, oh, I'm not the best.
That's a tough
anymore,
transition when you
you
go
know?
from high school being the best of the best. Everybody's celebrating how good you are, and you step in and you're at the bottom of the totem pole immediately. Bam.
Immediately
Welcome
hits
to reality.
hits you like a wall, and you're like, okay, I have to work harder.
Mhm.
It's like it's a wake-up call. It's like every opportunity is a privilege. Like I have to show up every single day
That's awesome.
and allow myself to be the best version of myself.
That's awesome. Well, cool. So you transitioned from St. Teresa's, right? I said that right?
Yes, good job.
To K-State. And then you studied at K-State nutrition?
Yes, kinesiology and nutrition. Nutrition was actually my second option. I was pre-PT
Same.
I remember you telling me that for 2 years of it.
Okay.
I was pre-PT. I was all in on physical therapy. I actually tore my knee up.
In high school or in college?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Same injury. Tore my MPFL. So it's like a ligament where my kneecap would sublux.
Okay.
So pop out of place. I was 15 when it first happened. So I was in high school, sophomore year. And then I was a freshman. I was my freshman year of college.
That's tough.
It was preseason.
Okay.
So I didn't play that year. I had a red shirt.
Okay.
So
you spent 5 years at K-State?
5 years, yes.
Right on.
Took a
Did the
fifth year.
victory lap?
Victory lap.
Same.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy place to spend an extra year in college.
Yeah.
Manhattan is certainly friendly to young.
Man happiness.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Man happy. Ema baby.
That's right. Girl, cat side.
Yeah.
We are maybe the only two K-State folks in our small circle of fitness professionals here. So
We got to stick together,
we gotta
Nick.
band together. We're
We got
closer
some
to boys.
KUers out there.
I know.
Boo.
We won't hate on them too much. It's okay.
I will.
I'll be the middle ground, and she can be the really hard
Yeah.
hard stater there. I'm good with that. So tell me a little bit more about your experience with college athletics. I felt like personally when I was at K-State, I learned a ton of lessons. I took a little bit different route than you. I went the JUCO route first. I was not ready to go straight to D1 school. I don't know if I was ever really ready to go to a D1 school, but ended up finding a way to make it work. And like you was like, all right, cool, let's just go to the next standard. But my college experience was very unique in that I struggled with injuries a lot. And while you had them, it sounds like you rebounded well, at least from what I know. What was your experience like at K-State as a Division I athlete? What was your day-to-day like? What did you learn during that time frame? Just kind of share a little bit more about your story and your time there.
Yeah, for sure. So when I got there, like I said, I tore my knee up, and it changed for me the trajectory of where I wanted to be as an athlete. And I felt like it was a different wake-up call that I had to basically work in a different way. Not work harder, but work smarter, if that makes sense, right? And I had to realize that I am the only one that can work hard for myself. And also realize
Tell me
that
what you mean by that?
that no one else is going to make me work hard for this.
Okay.
Like, again, I was the best at St. Teresa's. I didn't have to work that hard.
Yep.
And I played with great athletes at St. Teresa's, but I was always the libero for 4 years straight. I knew my role. And every day at K-State, I didn't know my role. So it came with question, and it came with realizing that we use numbers, we use stats to figure out if I would be on the court or not when it was game time. And my opportunity was at practice. And so I had to always learn how to fuel my body, how to recover, how to do my physical therapy, know that I had to do more than just the bare minimum. And being an athlete is a full-time job.
Yeah, a student athlete especially.
Student athlete, which the student part wasn't my favorite. but I learned to love, when I got to kinesiology and nutrition specifically, I loved my degrees. I even fell in love more with nutrition than kinesiology.
Yeah, so when you made that transition out of the heavy exercise focus and got into the nutrition, how related was that to your experience, realizing that I got to show up and prove myself and be ready? How much of that switch educationally was driven by your experience as an athlete?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was driven not just through my education, but actually through the resources K-State gave us.
Okay.
So we had a registered dietitian, and I would ask her questions. I'd be the girl that'd be like, so what should I do after this? so what should I eat? What should I choose on the menu that you gave? I would be so curious, and I would wonder what's the best for me, because again, every athlete's different, and some people could eat a whole pizza on the bus ride home from KU and be fine. But for me, I was like, but what's going to actually help me recover, because my knees are swollen after a game? Like, I wanted to learn more, and yes, my degrees help me with that. But again, a lot of it's book knowledge. It's like specific, pre-diabetic, all those things. It's not specific to athletes. And so I'd always ask my resources around me: athletic trainer, registered dietitian.
I thought that's super uncommon for college athletes.
Yeah, I was a nerd.
You were probably a little bit of an outlier. I imagine a lot of the girls on your team didn't do that. I did not do that. I should
You
have.
didn't?
No, we had access in the CAF to people that would tell us what to eat, but I was always a little bit in that tweener position where I wasn't quite fast enough to be in one position, and I wasn't quite big enough to be in another.
Yeah.
So it was either just eat all you can and get big and strong, which is my natural thing. It's like I'm very much a power, go fast, lift heavy kind of guy. And running more and doing that was never really in my interest.
Yeah, I think I started doing that because I didn't have a position. So after I tore my knee up and did all my PT and everything like that, the next season, everybody, not just me, we didn't know what we were going to play.
You had to earn your spot.
We had to earn our spot. And so again, I don't want to say I was always on eggshells, but like, I knew that every opportunity, every practice was a privilege to show up and to also be selfless. That was one of my biggest things I learned being a D1 athlete, is that it's about me proving to myself, not to other people, not to compare myself, but to know that, yes, we're a team, but being selfless and helping the team, whatever position they put me in. So I was never libero, truly. At K-State. I shirted up, is what we would call it. The leaves. We call it the leaves. I shirted up as libero my red shirt sophomore year. So I was a junior. So I was always a DS, which is a defensive specialist. So that's where you wear the same jersey as everyone else. And you play 3 rotations only.
I always knew. So Brittany, my wife, played volleyball in college. So I've learned a lot about this stuff over the years. I always knew that somebody was wearing a different colored jersey, and it took me a hot minute to figure out, like, why is that person, what's this all about? You know?
We were the cool ones. We could run in and out of the court, you know? But
over my head.
Right. But yeah, it was never that I was the only libero. I always had to beat another libero out. And so I never really fully got that position. So it's funny because when I look back now, when I was a redshirt junior, something clicked in me. I don't know why. I don't know how. But it finally was like, I have to be selfless. I can't be selfish. And I have to show up and help my team. However my coach puts me in, whether it's right back, left front, I have to hit, whatever it is, I'll do it. And I'll do my best.
How do you think that's carried over into your adult life, that mindset and some of these lessons you've learned?
Oh, I mean, I think it's carried me a long way. I think it's making me realize that, yeah, I might have a picture of what I think my life should look like or should be, but I'm going to be put in positions that I may not love or that I picture myself in, but it's for a reason. And it's going to carry me farther in life. To be resilient and be adaptable is the biggest thing.
So many people struggle with that. Whenever you go through the process of trying to envision these goals and where you want to be and setting your sights on something, and then being on your way there and something catastrophic in the moment for you, a knee injury, for me, it was a life-changing moment where I had this vision of, this is who I'm going to be as an athlete. This is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. I had my own selfish desires and goals, and going through the process of getting rocked and surprised by things that weren't on my perfect plan really forced me to grow and change and adapt. And I think so many people struggle with that. You even probably see that professionally today too, where we have to help people adapt what their expectations are along the way.
Yeah, exactly. They come in with one goal and it changes through their journey here, you know, same with us.
Speaking of journey, you've had a pretty crazy transformation yourself.
Oh, have I?
Yeah. And what's cool is I've had the opportunity to see the full holistic view of it because we work together so often, and we have for 2.5, almost 3 years now. I've gotten a chance to see all of it, both physically, but also mentally and professionally, and some of those things. I want to start with just having you share your physical journey. You look like a healthier person today, and this is not a stab at the younger Jackie, but if you look back at pictures, you look like a different human than you did then.
We should pop up the picture.
One of these days when we're really advanced, we'll get the actual TV in here.
Literally compare.
Yeah, we'll compare them side to side. But
Yeah.
where people can find you on Instagram at Get Jacked Fit.
Get Jacque Fit right
Look
here.
at that. You got the guns flexing everything. But go check it out because you really have made a huge transformation physically. Can you share where you were at? What got you to that point? I don't know what kind of shape physically you were in or metabolically when you were at K-State, but maybe just your own health journey. Because I know it's tough from an identity standpoint. We talked about this a lot in the past because I can relate to it.
Yeah.
You go from all day, every day, student athlete is what you eat, sleep, and breathe.
Yep.
Maybe more the athlete, not the student, especially living in Manhattan.
Right.
But going from that to then it all being done is a really hard shift. And I know that we've talked about how you've navigated that. Can you just kind of share more about where you were when you were at K-State, maybe physically, what that transition and like shift in identity and your own health and just that whole journey? Because I think it's really cool for people to see if someone just met you today, they're not going to know any of that.
Right.
So they're going to see this fit, young, healthy person and assume that's who you've been your whole life.
Yeah.
And I know you, because I know you personally, that you've had your own challenges.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for you to show people like, I'm a human too. I've struggled with these things. Here's what my journey looked like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, at K-State, they have all the resources. They catered food to us. They did all these things. And it would be like, we were football players. Like we would eat like football players. They wanted us to refuel and have enough food to have energy, right? And so I ate whatever I wanted, even if I asked.
You get away with it when you're
I got away with
active.
it. Yeah, and even though I asked questions and was curious, I still was like, well, I can eat 3 burritos after working out at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I did that.
Yep.
And it carried me along for those 5 years. But when I finished and I graduated in December of 21, I remember I moved back home to Kansas City to my parents' house and I lived with them. And I remember I started my first ever job and I still ate like that because I was like, what am I doing? How do I live? No one's really feeding me. I mean, I guess my mom is, but like,
you don't have anywhere to be every morning.
Yeah. Like
you don't have anybody catering everything to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have to create my own schedule. And so I worked out twice a day still.
Really?
For a year and a half, I worked out twice a day. And I remember that was the heaviest. I was almost 30% body fat. Relative even to my age and height, like being 5'7", I'm not tall. Even in high school, I was always a little bit leaner because I always was moving and active. But after college, like that identity mentally, I didn't know myself. And I think that also has to play a part of it, is that I didn't know what I was doing and where I was going. I was just trying to do something next, you know? And I wanted to be in sports, but I was living at home and didn't know. So I was just eating whatever I wanted. I worked out twice a day and I was still so inflamed. Like I was so inflamed. And then I went to a next job. And even at that job, like I ate, again, I tried to eat less and it still wasn't working.
Yep.
And I still was working out 6 days a week. And when I came and you found me and we talked in that dungeon, I was still that person. Like I thought I had to work hard, that hard, like I was a D1 athlete, like staying in that identity.
Yep.
But I was not in that same environment. Like my environment shifted, everything. My mental health wasn't great because again, I was lost.
I feel like so many people struggle with that in their own version, in their own way, in their own version. We go through these different phases of life where whether you're an athlete or not, you go from your high school life to your college life to adult life and stepping into the real world where you punch the clock and you go to a job and maybe you're not as active and you get into your 20s and you get into your 30s and sports aren't really a thing anymore. And then all of a sudden you have these other responsibilities and now all this stuff falls to the wayside. And so many people, especially like we recognize this because of what we do every day, so many people lose themselves. And when we sit down and have conversations with prospective clients, it's crazy how much people look back at what the glory days. Like they'll never be able to be the best version of themselves again. And of course, you're not going to be the 18-year-old all-star volleyball player again. Right. But that's hard to shift into who am I now? Who am I becoming? Where am I going?
Because that's all you really see, you know, because you're like, that was my best.
Yep.
But if there's another version of yourself that's better. Not even better, but it's just a different phase.
Yep.
Like you've evolved, you've learned from that time.
I would still call it better because it's better. It's now. It's taking the best version of where you are today.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't go back and try to relive the past. It doesn't
it's gone.
get you very far.
It's gone. And I think, so after all of that, and you met me and I realized that I was just with the wrong people.
Okay.
And it was just like, again, it's so funny because even when I talk to my clients, some knew me at that time and they asked, and I said, my environment. Like before I met you guys, I was not with like-minded people, and all of it starts with your brain.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy. And I never knew that. And until I realized that I don't have to work out twice a day, I can work out 3 times a week and it be so intentional. And I get lean muscle mass and I lose body fat naturally because I start to feel good and I don't worry about the number. I stopped worrying, stopped caring what people thought. And my body comp changed.
What's wild is it sounds so simple.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in concept, it really is. It's not difficult to do it, but you had to put yourself in an environment, like you said, that allowed you to be able to let go of all of these pre-existing beliefs that you had around this is the way it has to be.
Yeah.
Makes me giddy to hear about that, all that stuff too, because it's one of the things Brittany and I talked about in the last episode was creating an environment where people could feel safe and they could feel like they could be themselves and they could be around like-minded people.
Yeah.
And the power of being able to surround yourself with other individuals who are working on becoming the best version of themselves, it just makes it so much easier to be in that discomfort because you know you're not alone in it and you know that you have the support you need.
Right.
It's cool to hear that.
No, for sure. And it's cool that it's my work gives me that. You know what I mean? Like work, people want to be like work and personal life are separate, but they intertwine and they do affect each other. And so it's so cool that I can grow here and it allows me to grow personally outside these walls. And it's
I didn't
just
pay her to say any of this.
No, he didn't, but he should give me a raise. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Like, let's put this on air.
But no, for real, it's really cool how it took time. I mean, I wasn't like this
overnight.
Yeah, I wasn't like this 5 days after I worked here, but it was maybe a year ago. I started to see myself shift. I feel like
It was just about a year.
just about a year.
You took a trip to Europe
I did.
with friends
Yes,
or
my
family?
well,
Both?
it was my sister who's only 2 years older, so we kind of have the same friends, like here and there, and then 2 of our friends together, so 4 of us.
What was so impactful about that trip? I do remember that being a pretty defining moment for you. When you came back, you had, at that point, you had been still holding on to some of the things you were still doing.
Yeah.
You came back from that trip. It felt like it was a really big perspective shift. And I can share too, real quick.
Yeah.
When we went to Greece, Brittany and I, it was eye-opening for me because I got a chance to learn that this world that we live in and the American culture is not the only way people live.
Yeah.
And learning the way that people view American culture outside of our borders was eye-opening.
Yeah.
And it gave me a chance to start to see things from different perspectives. So I'm curious, from your point of view and your experience going overseas, traveling abroad, what was so impactful for you about that? Because I do feel like I remember it being a pretty heavy shift.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, I had another job.
I do remember that.
Before.
Because I was trying to convince you to leave it so you could be more engaged here.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what a good boss does. And
pat on the back.
Pat on the back for him. So yeah, I had another job, which was draining me, and you could tell. And I never want to let anyone down. And I think it also shifted that I was done with that job right before I left for that trip. So it felt like when I got back from Europe, it was new Jackie. Let go of the old stuff, shed the old skin. Let's
settle in.
Yeah. And being in Europe, I mean, Nick, as you know, breathtaking. The way that they live their life, they don't have high cortisol. I don't know. Maybe
I'm sure
they do.
There's a few of them, but it's definitely not the same.
But it's not the same. You know what I mean? They're not programmed the way that I feel like our world is to clock in, clock out, specific time, do more projects, live sedentary at work, things like that.
Definitely a strong family culture.
Family.
Leans into the 4-day work week.
Yeah, cooking at home, more meals at home, not eating out all the time. Siestas. Who doesn't love a nap, you know?
I can't remember the last time I took a nap.
I took a nap yesterday.
Oh, super jealous.
But 20 minutes.
It's all right.
Power naps are great.
Just as good, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Europe it really gave me perspective that there's more to life. I mean, I feel like that's really what it was, that I don't have to take life too seriously. But when I came back, I was so refreshed and I was like, all right, I have one job. I'm ready.
It's nice.
It was nice.
I think there's a lesson to be taken there around what we were just talking about. it's hard to be really good when your attention's divided on multiple different things. You have these expectations that I need to show up for all these different people, and I need to be able to do what's best for this person and these people and those people and this person and that. And that's something else I've seen you work through as well, is really trying to turn your focus on what serves you best. And it's interesting because you talked about learning that lesson in college about being selfless.
Yes.
And I'll let you share more about it yourself, but I think that's one of the challenges that I've seen you naturally focus is on how to be more selfish.
Yes.
Can you talk about some of the challenges you've faced even from that point, things that are maybe more recent focuses of yours where you've tried to establish a little bit more of what's best for you, not necessarily serving everybody else's opinions?
Yeah, I had to realize that there's a line, or just, I don't want to say balance, because again, I think it ebbs and flows, but realizing that being selfish is not a bad thing when it's coming from the right intention, right? So it's taking care of myself, having boundaries. That's the biggest thing I learned growing up. Now that I have my frontal lobe fully developed at 25, I feel like I learned what boundaries actually mean.
Yeah.
And I never had boundaries.
What was your old, I want to stay on that for a second. What was your old viewpoint of boundaries versus where it is maybe more today?
I felt like it was mean. I felt like it was shutting people out for some reason.
Okay.
But I realized boundaries is to protect your own energy and someone else's. And it doesn't need to be talked about all the time, but it's something that it's like, this is what I believe and this is what I value. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. But this is what I will do if you don't respect it. Right. And I never knew that. I thought it was mean. I thought it was just something that you fight and you create a boundary and you're like, I don't know. It sounds.
Would you consider yourself more of a people pleaser?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably why it's challenging, at least from.
I have always wanted everyone to like me. Do you remember the, the strengths, Clifton strengths test?
Yeah.
I was a wooer.
Okay.
I wanted to woo people. Like I just love talking to people, but I realized that like my strength wasn't just that everyone should like me. It's more so that I want to have an impact on people, more so than everyone to like me.
You've heard me say this before. I've always valued people respecting me more than liking me.
Yes.
And I think that you obviously don't want people to dislike you. I don't want people to like, F that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also want to feel like I can show up and be respected and have integrity, and people understand that where I'm coming from is the right intention.
Yeah.
And you may not love it.
Yeah.
And you may not love me, but that's okay if you understand where I'm coming from and why I'm doing things a certain way.
Yeah.
And what I've found is when you set that boundary in place, things that you're telling me you're learning, at least in my own experience, when you start to set these boundaries up, people start to learn to respect that. And if they don't, let them. We've talked about this before too. Yeah. Let them have that. That people are going to have these expectations of how you should live their life based on the lens of the way they live their life. And that doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It is just the difference between their preference and yours.
Right. And it's their perception on life, right? Like everyone has their own background of like, I grew up this way and I believe this should be the right way. But then you get in the real world and you're like, oh, that's not the only way I can live. That's not the only way I can choose to show up in life, you know? And I think I'm still learning that daily, but
it's an ongoing process.
It's ongoing, but I think I've come a long way.
100%. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
What do you feel like now that you're settling into a really good groove? It sounds like you are, at least.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is your main focus now? You talk about how it always evolves. You've gone through this transitional phase of being a student athlete to getting the wake-up call of the real world, to overcoming these expectations that you have to outwork your metabolism and that you can still get away with these things and you need to be in the right environment. You've listed off a couple of amazing lessons, and just kind of recapping all those things, getting to where you are now. You talk about constant evolution. What's the biggest focus for you right now that you're zeroed in on or zoomed in on to really try to continue moving yourself down that path and the evolution?
Yeah, the biggest thing I'm working on is slowing down. I'm someone that looks to the future. I'm always like, what's next? What should I do next? What should I do in 5 years? What should I do in a month? How should I be living? All that stuff. And I think right now I'm in a really great position. I love my work. I love my personal life. I think I have a really good set of friends. My family supports me in what I'm doing, everything like that. And I think it's just slowing down and realizing that like this time, what we have right now is not permanent. And whether maybe I feel stuck one day, or maybe it's a month I feel stuck, or maybe I'm it's me growing and it's me having to learn a new lesson, whatever it is. It's not permanent. And I think it's just being grateful. I'm so grateful where I came from, but I'm grateful where I'm at right now. And maybe I don't know exactly what the future holds, but I'm taking every day and taking care of myself every day.
That's cool. I feel like you've hit on so many really golden points there. It's cool. It's neat to see from an outside perspective looking in because, like I said, I get to see you bring this to life. And we've talked about how some days aren't going to feel great.
Yeah.
And you still have to just keep moving the needle and keep the ball rolling and the momentum going in the right direction.
Right.
You mentioned how much you enjoy your work a couple times, so I think we give it a chance for the audience to get to know nutritionist Jacque a little bit. what is the thing you enjoy most about coaching? Where does that all that passion and excitement and energy come from? I will say Jacque is the loudest talker on our team, but I think it's a good thing because she brings the most energy. If she's anywhere in the facility, you will hear her, which is awesome because you get a ton of feedback around that. You talked earlier about how you want to woo people, and that maybe that's something that was like a weakness of yours, but it's also a big strength. And that people love being around you. I think that's the feedback you've gotten consistently is the energy you bring to all of your sessions. And that doesn't just come from nowhere. It feels really organic. What do you think drives you so much to enjoy coaching? What do you love so much about it?
I love connecting. I think that's the biggest thing is like you said about wooing. I used to think it was a weakness, but it's not, again, it's just wanting to connect with people and wanting to bring positivity to people's lives and helping them see that they can also become their best versions of themselves, whatever that looks like in their stage of life. And I love trying to relate to people and hearing their story and helping them know that they're not alone because every single person, whether they want to tell you, is going through something. And whether it's big or small to you or whatever it is, someone's different perspective, I've always wanted to serve and I've always wanted to help people. And I found that nutrition is something I'm passionate about. I could talk about it for days, but it's something also, it's not just about food. It's about connection. It's about creating that personal relationship with someone to help them know that they are supported.
Yeah. You already hit on my next question. It was about what do you feel like people misunderstand about nutrition? You mentioned about how it's not just about food. Can you share a little bit more about your beliefs, your approach? And I don't need you to share the Avexia method and the things that we do here so much, more about and I know they align with your personal beliefs, obviously that's why you're here, but more about things you think people maybe misunderstand about nutrition, or maybe some things you'd like to clear up from your perspective.
Yeah, when I say nutrition is not just about food, it's also about your lifestyle habits, the way you sleep, the way you manage stress, the way you move your body. It affects the foods you eat. It affects what you crave, what you don't crave, how hungry you are, how not hungry you are, right? Your appetite. So realizing and learning that about yourself, being mindful and aware of that is step one. And another thing I talk about with clients is there's no good or bad foods. And I stand by that because every food has a purpose. If you want to elevate and get to your higher form.
There we go.
Right? See that?
Appreciate that.
And you want to be able to be your best self, right? Food helps you fuel, helps nourish your body, right? Whether you want to be the best boss, the best dad, the best mom, the best athlete in the world, food helps you do that. It is a tool. It is something that everyone can either use as something as a strength or as something that, again, is maybe you use it to bring community together, whether it's a picnic and you bring food, cookies, fruit, whatever it is. And there's a purpose for every type of food. It's how you want to show up and how you want to feel ultimately is what food serves.
I love that. And you mentioned how it all serves a purpose and there's nothing inherently good or bad. So I'm going to play the role of a client a little bit.
Man.
Here we go.
I thought we weren't in a one-on-one, Nick.
I know. Sorry. I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for them.
Right. For them, not for me.
You're good.
I'm ready.
You're good. So there's certain things that people struggle with nutrition. And one of them is there are so many different opinions about what's right and what's wrong and what to do and this diet and that method and cutting these foods out, but adding more of these. But what would you say to someone who is overwhelmed by the amount of different information out there? Where do I even start? There's so much shit out there that I don't know where to even go. I feel lost. I feel hopeless. And because I feel that way, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. What do you tell that person?
Oh, man. I mean, the biggest thing I would tell someone is choosing one food, and this is a very small change. One food, one whole food at the beginning of your day.
Okay.
It could be a protein, it could be a carb, it could be something that, again, gives you energy. And I know, again, there's so much out there and it can feel overwhelming, but if you just choose something that you know fuels your body and nourishes your body in the right way, which of course we know are fruits and veggies and proteins and lean proteins, things that are not processed or packaged, is something that I would have them start with. And I think it's individualized, so I can't really say it
Yeah,
depends.
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if they're even, again, for example, if they're eating enough, if they're eating one meal a day and,
Okay.
things like that.
So it's crazy. So many people are doing that.
I know.
It's nuts.
It's
Obviously, you
nuts.
see it.
I see it a lot, and they're stuck. And the root of this too, as you know, as we've talked, is that you have to get curious. I can't just tell them the answer. But if I could, I would say we need to add something at the beginning of your day because your cortisol is spiking because you just woke up, right? So you need something to regulate your blood sugar. And again, people one ear out the other. I mean, that's not something I would just tell a client, but I would start with a habit, whether it's drinking water right when you wake up versus a coffee, right? It's something small that individually that client can at least grasp and then progress.
Well, you talked about starting small makes so much sense because it's decreasing overwhelm.
Right.
When there's so many different directions and things I can go, I would imagine a lot of the feedback you get is that's it. That's all I have to do.
Yeah.
I don't need to follow this diet.
Yeah.
And I get where you're going. Obviously, we believe the same things,
Yeah.
but so many people get caught up thinking they need to make these massive shifts.
Yeah. Well, there's so much we get fed. I mean, I even read it. When I'm on Instagram and stuff, everyone's like, no low carb, no low fat. Oh, this said this and intermittent fast. But everyone has different things they're going through. Not everyone can fast. Everyone should fast. And we know this. So it's like, it's getting to one little change, just something small, and not overwhelm and think you have to fast or think you have to do keto, or that's not always the answer, you know?
We talk about this in training too. They're all tools in the tool belt.
Exactly.
It's not that these diets are bad.
Right.
They're there for a reason. And for some
Right.
people, maybe they make sense.
Right.
For one person, it might make sense to be lower on one macronutrient versus another. I'm curious, this is probably a silly question, but what would you tell someone who's in the mindset that they need to cut an entire food category out? I don't need carbs. I don't need any meats. Is different because there's different cultural and
Yeah.
emotional and health reasons on that side of it.
Yeah.
But like if somebody says, I'm on a no fat or no carb diet, how do you approach that with somebody? Because I know you mentioned it all depends, but
Right.
how do you navigate those situations? I think that'd be really tough as a coach when you run into something where somebody comes in, they're so hard-headed about this. We get this a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not open-minded. You talked about meeting them where they're at. But yeah, just tell me what you would do when you have somebody that comes in and says, I am not eating carbs.
Yeah. The biggest thing I would ask is, I'd be like, well, how did you get to that point? Like, why did you choose not to eat carbs?
Start with the why.
Right? Start
Yeah.
with the why. And I think that's something that, again, I had to learn just as a note, is that I wanted to tell people info.
Yeah, you
I wanted to be
one.
like, yeah,
Well,
I wanted to tell them.
I talked to Brittany about this in one of the last episodes we did too. Early in my career, one of the things I struggled with a ton, and you and I relate a lot on this, is I thought my value was my knowledge.
Yes.
I thought what I knew in a book and what I could tell them and spit out of my brain was what value I delivered to them.
Yes.
And as I've gotten more experienced in life, but also in the industry, I've realized that it's not about what I know, it's about how I can impact these people.
Yes. It's how you communicate it, right? And meeting them where they're at also means the way you communicate it, right? You can challenge them. They're here for a reason. They came to us for a reason, as we all know. So it's challenging them in a way that makes sense for them and doesn't feel overwhelming. But I would ask why.
Yeah.
Do you have any medical history? Are you pre-diabetic? Do you have diabetes? Right? I would ask those things, but I'd ask why and get to the root of, maybe there's fear.
Yeah.
Maybe there's fear that they're like, well, I've heard carbs make you fat or whatever, things people have heard before, and just get to the root reason. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to see your evolution as a coach, but also as a human. You have been an absolutely instrumental impact in what we've been able to do here. We've shared a lot in previous episodes about how we have a very big vision. We want to help impact people in a very unique way. And part of that is being able to find people who fit the vision that we have and they think like-minded and getting that culture and community. So just want to give you props. You deserve it. You've done a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I give props to, again, like I said from the beginning, it does matter the environment you're in. I feel like I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I wasn't here, because you guys have given me this platform to grow and to allow growth. And I don't always like to say failure, but sometimes I did take a wrong turn and I had to learn and figure out what other way should I go versus making the same mistake. And I think you guys have allowed me to make mistakes, but then help me navigate or veer the other way. And I feel like I've grown a lot. I've seen a lot in myself evolve, and I know this is just the beginning. So.
Yeah, you've got a long, very opportunistic career ahead of you, and I'm excited to see what's to come. This will probably not be the last time we have you on.
Okay, deal.
But is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to leave everyone listening with? I feel like we touched base on a lot of the things that really give a full picture of your journey to becoming a higher form version of yourself. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with?
I would leave them with just knowing that there's always more, that whether you're in a season of growth, feeling stuck, feeling like you can't get out of something, feeling like you're thriving, there's always more and there's always something next. And you don't have to put a lot of pressure on that, but knowing that nothing's permanent and that everything's is a gift, whatever season you're going through in life, and just enjoy the ride. I think that's something big I've learned, is just enjoy where you're at.
Nothing is permanent.
Nothing is permanent.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard and want to hear more, you can follow us on social media and tune in anywhere you listen to podcasts.